So let's continue working with these iterators. I'm gonna comment this line, this last one. In the last video we saw entries. In this video we're gonna start working with values. So instead of having entries right here, we're going to have values. And I'm gonna remove this and remove this also. So save this, and you can see that this is going to print an error. This is happening because this dot values is going to access the values. So basically this doesn't exist there is no iterator dot values when you are working with an array. In this case you have to remove this, and it's going to be like this: let entry of series, and save this, and now you can see this is going to print the actual values because dot values is going to be the same as using this. So it's recommended to use something like this instead of using dot values. So let's review the other ones. We're going to comment this line, and the other one is going to be the set. So instead of having entries, we're going to have dot values, and remove this position also. So save this, and you can see dot values is going to return the actual values of the set. So you can see using these iterators how easy you can access the values. So I'm gonna comment this again, and I'm gonna comment the last one. The last one is going to be this map. So instead of having entries, we're gonna have values right here. Save this, and you can see that this is going to return modern JavaScript and true, which are the values. And it's going to ignore these keys that we have on the left. So if you have a set or a map and you want to return the values, you can use dot values. In the case of the array, you can skip that and only add the name of the array. So let's add the other one. In case that you want to access the keys, there is also an iterator for that. So we're gonna comment this line, and I'm gonna remove this comment. And here in series, we're gonna add series dot keys, and it's going to be a function or a method. And you can see this is going to return the indexes of this array, 0, 1, 2, and 3. So in case that you want to print that, you can use dot keys, and it's going to print all the different positions. So we're gonna remove this, and I'm gonna comment this line. So let's print the keys of the set. And if you remember, sets doesn't have any keys. So we're gonna use dot keys, and you can see it's going to return the values, because basically the key and the value in a set are going to be the same. So if you remember, if you add dot entries, it's going to return the key and the value. In the case of the sets, these values are the same. So you can use with sets, you can use keys or values. It's going to return the same data. So finally, we're gonna comment this line, and we're gonna print the keys for the maps. And you can expect this. You can see it's going to print the keys that we have on the left, and it's going to ignore the values on the right. So let's review the default iterators. We're gonna have default right here. Default iterators are going to be the values that are going to be print when you skip this function. So in the case of the array, we already saw that if you remove these, it's going to print the actual values of the array. You can see this is going to be the default, and it's going to print this information, this data that we have in the array, the values, and it's going to ignore the index. So let's comment this line, and uncomment this one, the next one. This is going to be the default iterator in a set, so we're gonna remove this, save this, and you can see it's going to print the values. And in this case, if you remember, dot values or dot keys are going to print the same in the sets. So we're gonna continue working with this. We're gonna see the last one. I'm gonna remove these dot keys, and I'm gonna uncomment this line, save this, and you can see that in the case of the map, it's going to return both the key and the value, which is going to be really similar, or it's going to be the same as having these dot entries. It's going to return the same. So dot entries is going to be the default iterator when you are working with maps. So these are iterators in arrays, sets, or maps, but you can also, for example, I'm going to remove everything. You can also iterate an string. So you can add something like a message, a string, And you can add something like learning JavaScript. And from here you can add, for example, well, I'm going to show you the old way first. Old way of doing this iteration is going to be something like for let I equal 0, and then you add I minus the message dot length, and then you increase this by 1. And it's going to be like console log message at the position I. So you can see this in the console, and it's going to print 1 letter at the time in the console. So you can see this takes a lot of code. If we remove this and we add something like this, let letter of message, and then you console log the letter, it's going to be more simpler, and the result is going to be the same. You can also use these iterators, for example, in HTML. Let me add 2 basic links. Link 1. Let's add another one, pound sign right here. Link 2, like this. And if you open the app.js, let's remove this, and we're gonna add const anchors is going to be equals to document dot get elements by tag name, and we're gonna select the anchors. You can use for let anchor of anchors in plural, and then you console log the anchor, and it's going to print this href. If you want to access it's going to print these anchors. If you want to access the href, you add a .href like this, and you have access to this href or the links that you have in your HTML. Iterators, they are really helpful. They are really powerful also. So let's continue working in the next video.